Hey, everybody. It is Wednesday night, live without a net. It's me, Tim Danter, and Candace. How are you, Candace?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great. Gary's in the house. His chapter's gone to Party City. Oh, sorry, that's Party City chapter 11.
Uh-oh.
Figures, yeah. Well, someone had to burst that balloon, didn't they?
I guess so. We're going to be partying smaller time, I guess.
Go figure, Party City chapter 11, and yet here comes Zellers again, and it's like,
I
ugh,
know. I mean, I'm going to have to go
ugh.
buy all my party supplies at Party Town.
I don't know if we've got Party Town here.
I know, it's just a joke.
Isn't Party City? Wait a minute. Isn't Party City part of Canadian Tire now?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Interesting. Hey, Claude, how are you?
I mean, with the pandemic and everything, when's the last time people have been partying?
Oh, he said yes, it is part of.
Oh,
So is it just Chapter 11 in the United States? I guess we don't have Chapter 11 up here, do we?
no, I think we gave up at chapter 4.
Oh, I thought it was episodes, but
I don't
who
know.
knows?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows the trouble we've seen. So, how's it been going? There,
Oh,
be a few minutes. Of course, you'll be a few minutes.
oh
He's
yeah,
still
no.
eating that dill pickle.
Who's eating a dill?
Um,
Oh, the Ken?
huh?
The Ken is
Ken.
eating the dill pickle?
I don't know. Hey, Dan,
Nothing
how are you?
surprises me. No, everything's been going pretty well. Pretty well. Busy
Yep.
always, but
Yep.
I'm excited to be here and excited to have a ChatGPT night.
I know. Isn't it interesting? I used it again, and it's going to be interesting when I bring up the stats and stuff after tonight's stream because and I know, Candace, you say tags don't work a poo-poo. I get it. I get
Mhm.
it. But just for the hell of it, I did ask ChatGPT to write up some what would keywords be for well, I forget what the question. I can bring up the chat, but or
Mhm.
bring up the chat GPT, but it gave me keywords to put on my YouTube for tonight's stream. Well, number one was chat GPT. Another tag was openAI. Another one was language model. Another one was artificial intelligence. Another one was AI chatbot. Another one was conversational AI. Another one, natural language processing. Another one, machine learning.
Mhm.
Number 9 was AI language model. Number 10 was AI generated text. So I and then I kind of really sloppily put it into the description and stuff like that. So I don't know how it's going to work out. And,
Oh yeah.
I
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out. So,
yeah, I don't. I think it's really really interesting. And I mean, we can get into this a lot more, and we'll go back and forth for what you know and what I know and what we've kind of poked around with. But
and if
it's
we get stumped,
interesting.
we'll just ask ChatGPT.
What?
If we get stumped, we'll just ask ChatGPT.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's what we should do. We should ask GPT. What do you do if you get stumped?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, it was interesting that some of the things I was asking it, I asked it some driving questions, specifically about BC, which may make sense in a little bit later on in the stream if you're hanging around and if we get to that. But and that's British Columbia, not before Christ. If It only has information as of 2021,
Correct.
which I found was quite interesting because here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, okay, fine. It's in its, I guess it's in its beta mode is what it's in, so on and so forth. But I would have thought that being AI, it would be right up to speed, like almost current within a week.
Well, I think part of it though too is that they don't want to give it access to everything. So it's more or less it's got it into a little bit of a walled garden. So it has access to all the information up to 2021. But I think it's sort of keeping it limited to that point for now. And I don't know what
Yeah,
it is, whether they're afraid of, maybe it might get depressed if it learns about the Ukraine war. We don't know. It's just one of those
well,
things. It's like what I'd like to see is I'd like to see them roll out an update where they at least update it to the end of 2022, and hopefully that comes along.
hmm
So, I mean, as an investor, if I were to go and say, hey, how's this stock doing? It's going to tell me. I don't have access to current information. I can't really tell you.
Do you think that OpenAI censors it? Or like, have we ever, I mean, I've brought this up somewhere here, and I actually asked it, I was asking it how to teach it, how to say to a student, do a parallel park in German, and it converted it.
Yeah, it's good with
A
language.
little too much time this evening. No, I'm just joking. A little. So I asked it what is Chat GPT, and it said, I apologize for the confusion. There is no such thing as Chat GPT. It seems to be a typo or confusion with Chat GPT, which stands for generative ChatGPT is a type of language model developed by OpenAI. It's a deep learning model that is trained on a large data set of text and is able to generate new text that is similar to the text it was trained on. That's confusing. It's designed to generate human-like text. That's why it's called a generative pre-trained transformer, GPT. ChatGPT can be used for a wide range of natural language processing (NLP) tasks, including text generation, conversation, language translation, and question answering. It can be fine-tuned on specific tasks by providing it with smaller data sets and adjusting the. It is ChatGPT is not a human and have human-like intelligence. It's a powerful tool that can help generate tasks. Why am I saying that? I guess it's based on the information. Can't generate the information.
Interestingly enough, everything you just said sounds like you're speaking over a Geiger counter. Now, I don't know if is that me or are you guys in the chat hearing the same thing? Some kind of sound distortion when Tim was talking. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you were breaking up. Even our chat picked it up as well.
I feel like the $6 billion man.
We have the technology. We can rebuild.
Easy now. Easy. Just a sec. Momentito.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Just that crackling Geiger counter sign. I guess it means that this show is radioactive.
Is that any better?
That sounds a little better so far. Just say something for a good stretch.
I'll say something for a good stretch.
There we go. That was nice and clear that time.
How's the volume, though?
Volume sounds fine.
Okay, good. Do you mean I just read that whole bloody thing for nothing?
Yeah, I have no clue what you said. This is what it sounded like to me. It was like. I was like, where's the uranium?
Well, it is ChatGPT. What can I say? It was learning me. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's live television or YouTube, same thing. That's what happens.
I'm not going to read that over again. Do you want me to read that over again?
You don't have to read that over. I think everybody's got a general idea on what ChatGPT is.
I missed it. Go ahead, read it. I'll let you.
Oh my God.
No, I got it. I got it.
My God.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting when, I heard it all. Anyway, but it's interesting to say that it gets its responses from questions asked and text generated. So, is this just, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Someone owns it. Is someone got the ability to censor it? Or do they just write the program that picks up all the algorithms based on nothing but the text?
Well, I mean, it is technically
and go from there.
Source. So, I mean, OpenAI owns it, but There's a lot of different contributors to the code, so I don't think you have any worry about them creating it to be censored. Now, there is some censoring in it. Like if you ask it an unethical question, it will call you on it and say, that's an unethical question. I'm not going to answer that because of that. So it will do that. Like if you ask it, like for example, let's say if Ken was like typed in, how do I dispose of a body? It's probably not going to give him any suggestions.
Well, I already know that. I could tell ChatGPT, and then the next doofus that comes by and asks will get an answer.
Now, here's another interesting thing. I had ChatGPT write this poem for me, and it went and rhymed the word noise with the word noise. So I then just turned around and I just typed back to ChatGPT. I said, do you really think noise should be rhyming with noise? And then ChatGPT replied back, oh, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have rhymed noise with noise. Let me rewrite that one verse. And it did. Yes, it did. It rewrote the verse and fixed its error.
So can we go back a second? It went right over your head. Did anyone get that? Hello, is anybody out there? What is open source?
Open source means
explain that. Can you explain that to people who may not know what open source means?
Well, you get open source when you sleep with somebody that's
no, not open source.
Oh, okay.
Open source. So basically what open source means is that, for one, it's the code's not protected. Nobody owns the code. It's freely available on the internet. So people can work with the code, can modify the code. There's no copyright or anything of that nature with it. That's what an open source is. So for example, Adobe Photoshop is not open source. It's owned by Adobe. You have to pay tooth and nail, to get it. Whereas there's this thing called GIMP. GIMP is open source, meaning people made it for free. And you can still donate. Like they usually will put up a donate button. If you want to donate to those of us who've been working on it, you can. But it's, you can go in, you can mess around with it. You go in and start messing around with the code in Adobe and they'll get very cranky at you.
So is blockchain open source?
In a way.
Ask GPT.
Ask GPT. They could probably give you a definitive answer. But blockchain is available to everyone. But at the same time, you can't just go in and change it because you have to have so many nodes agree upon it to make changes on it. So it's not traditional open source. Definitely not in that sense.
Well, let's just look at the definition of blockchain.
Don't even just do that. Just make GPT do the work. Just say GPT is blockchain open source.
So interesting. It says blockchain technology is based on open source principles, which means that its source code is publicly available and can be modified and distributed by anyone. This allows for a community of developers to work together to improve technology and to create new applications based on it. The most well-known blockchain, Bitcoin, was created by an anonymous person or group or people under the pseudonym Satoshi. Holy mackerel. Thank you. Nakamoto, and the source code for Bitcoin was released as open source software in 2009. This means that anyone can access the code, make changes to it, and use it to create their own blockchain-based applications. The first blockchain, Bitcoin, is an open source software where many other blockchain platforms such as Ethereum, Litecoin, and many others also adopt the open source approach and have open source code base. This open source nature of blockchain has helped to drive innovation in the technology and has enabled a wide range of new cases to emerge.
Right.
So open source for that means that you can actually copy the whole.
Sure, you can.
The whole writing, build the blockchain, once and then you change the stuff in it.
But the thing is, once you have it in place and you're operating it, so Bitcoin, like the blockchain, you can copy it, but you can't change it anymore because you need to have a certain number of nodes, have consensus to be able to make changes to the code once it's actually active. That's why I sort of say it's open source, but yet at that point, it's kind of not.
Well,
So,
and I think it's because, and I think the reason is that initially the code was built to have a consensus,
mhm. Oh
and
yeah, that was
that
good
code
input.
that
So now,
code may not that
so you
code,
could
and
take.
there just may be so many sources right now that the
Mhm.
consensus would never, or consensus would always win out of one person
Mhm.
trying to go in and tinker with it.
Right, but at this point, you could take the source code for Bitcoin, and you could tinker with it all you wanted to, but at that point, you've just made a completely different blockchain. So it wouldn't be
That's
Bitcoin, maybe it's
right.
gonna be Timcoin.
But that's where the open source part of it comes from. The fact
Yeah.
that the code is available for you to go through line by line by line. You can't modify it, but you can copy it and you can change stuff and launch your own blockchain.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So that's where the open source
Wild.
concept on that works.
Yeah, good old open source, and that's kind of the whole idea with open AI is that it's an open source AI. It allows many creators to come in and create it because if you only have a small group of people making something, you're going to be limited by the collective brain power of that small group of people. But when you open it up to the world, there's no limitation to the brain powers and the changes that can come in to something like this. And if you've watched how well, not just chat, but GPT itself, if you've watched its iteration, because we had GPT-1, GPT-2, GPT-3, there's also a GPT-4, and now there's Chat GPT. If you've watched all the iterations, it's amazing how much it's been growing and how fast it's been growing. So if you were to talk to the whatever the version of Chat GPT is in, let's say, 2 years from now, I doubt you're going to be able to distinguish that you're talking to an AI. You're going to think you're talking to a human. There's no way around it.
So is okay. So is Alexa ChatGPT,
No, Alexa is Alexa.
but we're talking to her, and we could throw out anything to her,
Hmm.
and she comes back with a response.
She searches the whole web, though. I think ChatGPT uses its own database, does it not?
Well, Alexa doesn't have the ability to sort of recreate new stuff. She's giving you canned responses for the most part. And
Okay.
what ChatGPT can do is it can take data and it can give it to you in different ways. So, for example, if you ask her for a definition of something that's complicated, she'll give you a great definition. And maybe you don't understand it. Maybe it's over your head. Then you could actually go back to her and say, okay, can you explain that to me again as if I were a 5-year-old? And she will. She will take all the complicated stuff that she just gave you and she will simplify it so that a 5-year-old could understand it.
But for it to do that, it's got, I mean, how does it?
Well, it's an algorithm. And it's also got a lot of processing power behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's
it's able to
spooky,
do
man.
that. Like, if you remember when Dancy was on the show, he was mentioning how they're looking at versions that can even make errors on purpose so that it looks like a person wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
So, there are, and I've never tried this yet with ChatGPT to see if she can write something with grammatical errors in it.
It seems that this is this open source ChatGPT is the new flavor. It's the new toy. It's the new thing out here now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just a lot of people get so here. Just a personal opinion. A lot of people are getting wrapped up in this is cool. I can use it, and it serves a function to us all right now because everyone's playing with it and everyone's using what it spits out to us in some cases, so on and so forth. Right? Like, my nephew, I believe, said that he had a buddy of his write a paper on GPT. They submitted it for school.
Mm-hmm. I'm using
But
it now. I mean, like, for example, tomorrow, I got a battle video coming out between Shopify and text. So I was just like, I don't want to go and do a ton of research just to write up a little blurb on their background. So I will say, hey, Shopify, tell me about, or sorry, hey, ChatGPT, tell me about Shopify, and it will give me a paragraph with the history of Shopify in there. I'll go in and I'll tweak a few things and I'll remove a few things because she's a little more thorough. But then I don't have to go and do all of that, a ton of extra research. And then I've got a paragraph written, scripted for me. I can plop that into my script. So that's probably about 30 minutes that saves me. And when I'm doing a battle with two, that's almost an hour of time saved in making that script.
Does this go to support the comment that I will make saying this is just one more way of making people lazy?
Well, it really depends on what you want to call lazy, right? I look at it this way.
Non-traditional fact finding.
Okay, but look at it. All right. Well, let's go even further back. Traditional fact finding is going to the library and using the Dewey Decimal System. Now we got the internet. We don't have to do that. Does that make you lazy? No, but it means that you have now more time to work with, as long as you're still utilizing the same amount of time. So if ChatGPT can help you with a script, for example, if it can save you an hour in that one part, well, make sure you use that hour to utilize to even make other parts of the script better, or to, maybe do more editing, do more fancy stuff. Just utilize the time it's giving you. Don't sort of, lazy would be if you say, "Whoo, I saved an hour. Now I'm going to go watch, the Housewives of the Shire," or whatever.
So maybe lazy was the wrong word. Is it making us less? Oh God, the thought's gone to me. But less problem solving, because when we had to go, even with the internet, we still have to search and we still have to think, okay, I got to rephrase that and I got to search. And is it this article or that article or this? And then what we had to do is we had to write it all down, so on and so forth, right? With ChatGPT, it does it all. It researches it and writes it for us. Where's the problem solving for us in that? And where's our executive functioning?
Not perfect. I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to just say, okay, write me an entire script, GPT, and I'll just go with it. I'm still going to fact check. I'm going to make sure that, because especially where information only goes up to 2021, there may be some new information in the last year that may change what you're actually getting back. And I also will say, know how to do the research before you start taking a shortcut. Know how the whole process works, because ChatGPT is here today, but let's say Microsoft buys the whole thing, and you may have a situation where you're paying for it, or you may have to actually go to Bing.com. I mean, who goes to Bing.com?
Oh my God, I haven't heard that in a long time.
That's what Microsoft wants to do. A few things. They want to put ChatGPT into Bing, which makes Bing relevant. And they also want to add it to Outlook and Word. So imagine in Word, you're already in Word, and it's like, okay, ChatGPT, write me a story.
I wonder if Bill Gates had the forward knowledge enough to go and write and get this open source ChatGPT going, knowing full well that he was just going to play it like a fiddle all the way in, and then say he purchased it, and it was, you know what I mean? Like it was all planned. I mean, the guy's not stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's brilliant. I think it's so cool, and I love it, because time is more to me than anything right now.
Absolutely. And in Microsoft Word, we're finally going to start to listen to that paperclip guy.
What?
I remember him.
Paperclip. There used to be that paperclip that used to come up and say things. But yeah, no, I mean,
oh yeah.
You could, I mean, and this is how I would do it if I were Microsoft. I would have ChatGPT not so much there to write somebody's email, but before they send it, it would be like, excuse me, are you sure you want to send that? You've got 16 grammatical errors. Just little things like that.
You watch, it'll say, I'm sensing hostility in this email.
Yeah, exactly.
You may want to sleep on this. I'm just going to put this in the draft folder. Then it locks you out for a timeout.
Mm-hmm. Or you come in the next day and it's like, I decided we weren't going to send that email you sent last night, so I stopped it. Let me explain to you why.
Now, do you want to go down, well, kind of a dark alley with this? Do you think ChatGPT is being made so that there is an algorithm that's more human?
Oh, without a doubt.
Knowing what words we're picking, right? Because then ChatGPT can be sold to places like Bell and whoever, so they have automated response.
Oh yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Help, right?
But you see, this
So
is a
then
good thing, though.
it's being more human towards us. And then when they upload that into a robot,
Right. But and this is, I think that's a good thing. I think, because as somebody who's, worked in call centers and has managed call centers, we need less call center agents. We could use robots. Like, here's that thing. Like, it's a highly, highly stressful job because when people call in, they're always angry and they're, ready to yell their heads off. Well, you could yell at an AI all you want. It's not going to take it any offense. And then you're going to have a complete standardized amount of service because it's not going to, it's not going to sort of like, have the first agent say, oh, yeah, I'll give you this extra credit. And the second agent say, oh, no, I'm going to bill you some more. You're not going to have anything of that nature. In addition to that, one of the things I think that's really... What the heck is that?
I don't know.
It's a Yeti.
Oh, no.
Sam Squanch is there. He wants a beer, Tim. He wants a beer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But the other thing, too, is that it also eliminates language barriers. Like if you've ever called, like I know I once called and I was calling at the time I was managing in Staples, and I was calling from a Staples corporate center to HP support in India. And I was trying to explain to them, I'm Staples. And they were like, oh, no, that's a Staples product. You got to call Staples. I'm like, no, I'm Staples. I'm calling you. And it was about a half an hour conversation and it got nowhere.
Right. They call that now. That's called Bell India now.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of these situations, though, that it eliminates all of it. And here's the beautiful thing. Let's say you are somebody who speaks a different language, like an obscure language. ChatGPT will be able to understand it. It doesn't really matter. Like, let's say you're one of those few people that only speaks like Cape Breton Gaelic. Well, ChatGPT probably understands Cape Breton Gaelic. I don't, but ChatGPT does.
I think we have to understand that no matter, as Ken said, is this all just, learning human behavior, like live human behavior to build into the future, into things and stuff like that. I think is what you're getting at, Ken. And I think what we have to understand is that our information was sold years ago when we started to get points cards and to redeem points. And then it transformed into computers, and then it transformed into beepers, and then it transformed into cell phones and smartphones and stuff like that, and now into cars, and now into this, and now into that. We're tracked no matter what. It's all marketing. It's all
right.
All of this stuff is just gaining and understanding and studying human behavior.
But let me ask you this question. Why is it a bad thing for AI to learn to be more human?
Why is it a bad thing?
Why is that a bad thing?
Well, because of the incident that happened in 2017.
Are you talking about the one that went on to the internet and learned all of the right-wing type things?
No, the one that connected to the internet and learned how to rebuild itself better.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, 24 or 29 researchers from Japan.
Well, and somebody has already had. I know I read an article that somebody asked ChatGPT to help them make an AI, and it did. So, robots making robots, that's a natural progression. That's going to happen one way or another. But look at it this way. The more the AI understands and learns human values, human emotions, then that's something it can then start weighing into its equation.
Yeah, but I mean,
it won't.
These were 3 or 4 robots that were killing people. They dismantled one of the robots, and the robot was able to connect to the internet and learn how to put itself back together more efficiently and better than it was to continue killing humans. That did happen. That was in Japan.
Right. Okay. But here's that thing. I mean, that's up to us as, as programmers, as people, as we build these things, to create safeguards within them. there's going to be stumbling blocks, and now we know, let's not allow robots to, come to the conclusions that maybe it might be fun to start killing people. Like, I don't think
Yeah, but
I
the
don't think
fact
we'll ever get
is,
to a point where the robots will basically say we'd be better off without people. And I think even worst case scenario, let's say they did, I think at least some of us would end up in robot zoos of some sort, so that they could say, these are the people that we once, were slave to.
But I think that understanding and having human behavior studied and understood and programmed and responses and all that is also bad, because it can find our weaknesses.
Right, but it's not trying to do that. What it's the goal right now.
We don't know that. What
But
about
here's
what?
the
I mean, it's
goal.
just Candace, just like what happens if we got hacked? That
Yeah.
is just saying that
Or
is someone who is coming in and hacking for a really bad cause, for a really bad way of doing it. And it's like, what's to say someone couldn't go in and hack that to really take advantage of human nature and human beings?
There's always a part of there's always a danger. I mean, I know that Elon Musk is afraid of what they call the singularity. Singularity is basically that point where AI basically becomes smarter than us.
Mm.
And the reality is, right now, the reason that they want AI to learn human emotions and how to interact more human is because that's what their main goal is going to be. They're going to be chatbots. They're going to be customer service. They're going to need to be directly communicating with humans, all the time. And as a result, I think most companies don't want people to realize they're talking to a robot. They would rather them think that they're talking to a person. And especially if you think about people who are older people are going to be a little bit less like, a younger person's like, oh, cool, a robot served me today. Somebody who's like 80 is going to be petrified of a robot serving them. So the more human they make that robot, the more human that robot can appear, the more comfortable some of these people are going to be. And I think that's kind of what the main goal is. Maybe things go horribly wrong somewheres down the line, but that is kind of one of those things that we need to have contingency plans for. I'm not saying we shouldn't, but I'm just saying right now, the learning and making them a little bit more human is not a bad thing for what they're going to be used for.
It's the downside, because when anything good like this happens, somebody always takes it and uses it maliciously.
Well,
and I'm talking governments, and it's always, a weapon of war. They always do it.
Well, there probably will be weapons of war that are AI focused or AI based. Absolutely.
Well, okay, so we're trying to develop robots to help us out with, the labor shortage, right? And then 5-6 years ago, you got Japan creating robots, not for that, but to learn how to kill people. You take a good idea and you use it maliciously.
Okay, let's look at war. So suppose I have AI controlled missiles. So I'm firing my missiles, and I, as a human firing my missiles, if I pick the wrong target by mistake, there's nothing I can really do about it. I'm not going to realize it until it's too late. Now, an AI missile would be able to sort of see that it's coming in at a target, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, that is not a military target. That's a civilian target, and then it can abort. So there are definitely advantages to having AI within our weapon system.
Well, yeah, it would reduce casualties of war, and it would put more soldiers into unemployment.
Well, that's
really
eventually a lot of jobs are going to disappear. There'll be brand new jobs that pop up, but
yeah, I know.
Even this week in Nova Scotia, I heard of a robot actually doing a surgery. That's one of the first in the province. So I'm like, okay, they've already got robots that can do specific surgery. So it's coming. And eventually it'll be a point that robots, like if you go in and your doctor's a robot, you're going to be like, oh, thank God they're going to do it right. Whereas the human ones are more fallible. You're not going to have malpractice suits against a robot doctor. You're going to have malpractice suits against a human doctor.
I also can see it as a real. I can also see it in a bad way. Whereas if we have the creation of CBDCs, is that what they're called, CBDCs, the currency that becomes digital and stuff like that? Government has control over what we make, what they give us an allowance. Now they can control us with AI and stuff. We're pooched. We just become freaking robots ourselves, having to do whatever we have to do. It becomes,
We already are.
Escape from New York all over again.
No, the thing is, at that point, once the robots really start hitting the workforce, you are going to then need something like a universal basic income. That will be down the line. It's just we're not ready for it yet. As a lot of people think that we should be ready for it, but we're not. But eventually we'll need it because there's going to be a lot of people out of work. And if you don't give them something, it's going to turn into chaos because that will just increase and spike the crime rate. Like even right now with a recession and with inflation, we're already seeing spikes in shoplifting right across the board. And stores are starting to really worry about that.
Yep.
Well, it's interesting. It's all really interesting. I mean, we started out by talking about, Chat GPT and what it was used for and how we could use it and how it can be a benefit to us. And we've kind of gone down to artificial intelligence and, the pros and the cons of artificial intelligence in it. And maybe we're alive for some of this. Maybe we're not. I don't know. You start to see different sectors of our society use them. The police in the States using AI bombs and self-driving this and as you and to your point, computerized warehouses and self-driving cars and we've just started. Like it's
exactly.
just,
if you picture an upside down triangle, we're at that bottom point. So as time goes by, everything is going to get exponential really fast. So the change is coming. Like it's like 10 years from now. And if you look back to today, you'll be like, oh my God, I had no idea how fast that's all going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to be that way. There's going to be a massive, like this world will look really different in 10 years with AI and robotics in there.
Ken?
I'm just wondering how that will affect the economy, like stocks and stuff like that.
That'll be an interesting thing. I mean, I think it's still going to be in place. I can't see why it wouldn't. I mean, you're still going to there will still be jobs. It's just most of the jobs that are going to disappear are all low end jobs.
If everybody's on the UBI, where's just extra money to invest in stuff?
Well, not everybody's going to be on UBI. I mean, you can have UBI, but there's still going to be ways to make additional money. So, for example, what we're doing right here, YouTube, that'll be a revenue source, or at least some version of something like that. People will always have. Well, people will always have ways to, to make money, extra money. I mean, eventually we could end up going the way of Star Trek, where like nobody even has money anymore. Everybody can just have whatever they need.
Isn't that called communism?
Well, no, I think that's a little different. Communism, you still have money, but you have to pay a lot of extra money for bread, apparently. So,
and usually communism, you're working for the government of some way.
Maybe
owns everything in North Korea.
Maybe we become the products. Maybe we become the because all the artificial intelligence and all the robotics and all this and that can make stuff so cheap that it becomes abundant that it needs something for self. At some point you have to think, doesn't what robotics, AI, whatever produce have to be sufficient or self-sufficient or dependent on something? And if that dependency is on real live humans, then it behooves someone to keep us healthy, alive, and going as a form of demand for the products.
I mean, you could see an entire shift where, if robots are running the world, I mean, humans could end up becoming a commodity. Sure.
Yeah.
But, perhaps not in the sense that you're thinking, not like, bought and sold type commodity. There could be something different. Like, for example, perhaps the more humans underneath a specific robotics care, maybe the more points they have, or, the more prestige they have, or the more cycles they get. If you're thinking of a giant processor, like, we just don't know. That's the thing. Everything pretty much is speculation where this is going to go. The only thing we know is that AI has begun. The genie is kind of out of the bottle, and nobody's gonna stop it. And if you think about it, if you think of people, well, one of the big worries about AI has always been that are people going to accept it? Here you go. Here's ChatGPT making your life easy. And people are like, oh my God, this is cool. I'm accepting it. So,
that'll be very easy for the next generations that's coming up to accept.
Oh yeah, you keep throwing out things like ChatGPT. Oh, the Zoomers and the millennials are just, they're just gobbling it up.
Mm-hmm.
And the older folk are starting to like it, and it's really getting in there. So AI has become a lot less scary, all because something as simple as ChatGPT.
It's becoming the new cocaine.
Yeah, well, I mean, ChatGPT, it's like that really smart relative of Google.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how people are looking at it.
Yeah.
And people are enjoying it, and it's making people's lives easier, and people are like, they're not as worried as say someone like Ken is about robots killing people, but they're more like, oh my God, this is cool. This can do a bunch of good stuff. So, and look at how long it took ChatGPT to win people over, like a matter of weeks.
Not long.
No, I mean, I was telling you guys about it before it went mainstream, and then, like quite literally a couple weeks later, and everybody's talking about it. It's like, huh.
It's got to be one of the fastest adoptions.
I think it is. I've never seen anything adopted.
No, I've never seen anything adopted that quickly as this is as well. So I mean,
and it's going to be everywhere. And you mentioned like Alexis. I mean, when you take people like Alexis, if you take the little AIs like Alexis, they've got, like Amazon is probably looking at this and going, oh my God, we need to raise our bar a little bit. Alexis, Siri, Google, they all got to start, climbing things up. Well, Google has Lambda going on, but they're not ready to release Lambda yet.
They have what?
An AI called Lambda. That was the one. There was a Google employee that got fired like months and months ago because he said that Lambda was sentient. And so they fired him over it because he was trying to get legal representation for Lambda. Yeah, it was in the news. It was quite a while ago. It was like, it was in 2022, but that is that AI that they're working on. Now, Google said, hey, ChatGPT is good and everything, but we can't release ours into the wild until we know it's perfect because we have, we got our reputation on the line with it.
Who said that? Google?
Google
Microsoft?
did. Yeah.
Oh, Google.
No, Google. That was a Google one. And gosh, nobody knows what Apple has cooking. I mean, I know that just from my watch, Siri is listening to me all the time. I don't even have to say her name. Sometimes she just completely out of the blue throws out, comments and makes just comments on stuff. And, and it's just all kinds of little things. Like, I mean, I remember one time I accidentally bumped the cat and I said, I'm sorry to the cat. And all of a sudden Siri goes, it's okay. So, they're all going to be taking big moves upward. I mean, they have to. They've now seen ChatGPT has set the bar, and all the big boys have got to start hitting that. So, your new Apple Watch is going to be a lot smarter. Your new iPhone, your new Samsung, your new Google, your new Alexis is all they're all about to explode intelligently. So just watch them over the next couple of iterations. You're going to see some amazing changes.
Well, I mean, even to that point is look at Apple just they're doing an early release of their Mac Pro and their
Yeah,
whatever with a
Pro,
new
Mac
was it an
Mini.
M2 chip or something like that? Something
M2
that's
chip
new.
in their Mac Mini.
Mac Minis.
Yeah, and their Mac Minis are looking like pretty powerful, nice little computers, and they're pretty cheap for an Apple. Because you can get a really good Mac Mini for like $1,000.
Yep.
That's not bad.
No,
I mean, I got a Mac Studio here, and that was like almost it was right around 5,000. Well, after tax, it was closer to 6,000.
Ouch.
Wow.
But it's powerful as all banana bread. So look at it that way.
Well,
like I can process a video. Like if I make a 20-minute video, I can process it in less than 5 minutes.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely nuts.
It's a brand new world, though. It's going to happen. Put away your records, and then your cassettes, and then your 8-tracks, and your vinyls, and your CDs. It's going to be an explosion like that, but really fast.
Here's a little tidbit for you guys. Before ASIC miners came out, the most powerful chip to use for Bitcoin mining was the cell chip in PlayStation 3s.
Oh,
it's extremely powerful. And yeah, I watched a whole documentary about it. Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. There's a documentary about it. I just got to look up PS3 on YouTube, and there's a documentary. It's really interesting because it shows comparisons between Sony and Microsoft and how Microsoft got the jump. Microsoft got the jump on the Xbox coming out, or the Xbox One or 360 or whatever it was, before PlayStation 3, because the CPU, the way the CPU is structured, it made it harder to create the video games for it. But once they got all the tools and figured it out, the video games on Sony is actually a lot better than Xbox, which is Microsoft. It's really interesting crap I was reading.
Yeah, I don't have time to play games, unfortunately.
I'm going to start playing games. The freaking Oracle's going to be streaming some retro games every once in a while.
Oh, you should do that like Donkey Kong.
No, I'm doing Final Fantasy 7 and a whole bunch of stuff.
That retro. Like, go really retro. Start with like the first week you do Pong.
Oh my God.
Watch me turn my dial, folks.
Space Invaders, asteroids.
Yeah, from Pong, then go to like asteroids or Space Invaders, and eventually work your way up to Frogger.
Unbelievable.
Oh dear.
Well, I guess that's enough about the chat GPT. I mean, I don't know. As I said, Ken, I don't know if you were listening at the very beginning, but I used it to generate, I think, 10 keywords for tonight's video.
Right.
Did we even get to any of those keywords?
Huh?
Oh, the keywords. I thought you also asked it some driving stuff.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did. I asked
what was
it.
The result of that?
Okay, wait a minute. That's the driving.
How do the keywords work? Is it for afterwards for trending or for bringing an audience to the show?
I think it's for search.
Okay. Yeah,
that's what it's intended. That's what it's intended for, eh, Candace? But I mean,
yeah.
but
the only problem you have to do is you have to be aware that it's against the rules to keyword stuff. So if you just in your description just put a whole list of keywords, that will get you in trouble with YouTube because it's against the terms and conditions. But as long as you're using them in sentences, as long as it makes sense, you can put as many in as you can. But just make sure that it's not that you're not stuffing them, that you're just putting a bunch of them there for no reason.
Well, I thought the keywords were supposed to relate to your topic or whatever.
Of course they do. Like if you were, let's say, for example, you had a video that had nothing to do with Justin Bieber, but Justin Bieber was trending, so you just threw Justin Bieber down as a keyword in there.
Right.
And that's not even in your video, then you could get in trouble for that.
They're coming that serious, eh?
Oh yeah. Well, they also changed all the profanity settings too, so
Yeah, you can't swear. If you swear within the first 15 seconds of your video, it's immediately demonetized.
And there's another rule too that's coming out too that's really interesting. Have you seen the new terms and conditions that you have to sign?
No.
So I've already signed them. Well, you have to be monetized. You're not. That's why you didn't see them. But if you're monetized, you'll get these new terms and conditions for monetization. And one of the things they say is that they can go back and they can demonetize a video in the past based on newer rules that come up. And then they can withhold however much they paid you for that video by just deducting it over.
And they can go into your past streams with the algorithm. And if you violate anything, you can get your copyright strikes and everything too.
Yeah, they can go back.
So that's why everybody's leaving YouTube and going to Rumble.
Well, that's where
I just keep your show clean. If you keep things clean, you've got no problems.
I think Dan's over at Rumble, isn't he?
I don't know. I know Nate's over there, I think. There's a lot of people leaving YouTube because of all the terms and conditions. So they're crunching down too much. Well, like look at my stream Friday. My stream ended up going down because I was playing some
I wondered what happened to that
content, right? I was showing the GGG network, Snoop Dogg's online podcast. Yeah, it went down because of that. So I got an email that I'm going to get a strike, but at the same time when I was looking at it, it was still processing. So I deleted it, so I didn't get the strike because it doesn't exist now.
Wow, you got lucky.
Well, it takes a bit to process, right? So
yeah, no, I've heard of some YouTubers where they found one of their older videos that had some questionable content into it.
That happened,
and then because they tried to delete it, it brought YouTube's attention to it, and then they got their strikes that they probably wouldn't have gotten if they just left it alone.
Right. Well, you have the option to dispute, right? So
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, there's a lot of people leaving. Plus, with them like jacking up the percentages that they get now. What the super chats? They automatically get 30% of that, but they're supposed to jack that one up too. So what's going to happen is there's going to be less viewers, which means there's less revenue for the YouTubers. So they're searching for other plateaus to go to. Twitch is a big one that everybody's starting to move to as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, Twitch is pretty big if you're gaming.
And Twitch, if you set it up, there's this one guy that Jordan watches called Night Cop. And you can troll his stream. And the way you troll the stream is by donations. If you donate money, you get to interrupt his stream with fireworks going off while he's streaming and all this kind of crap. That's kind of neat. That is kind of neat.
Yeah, that's always been that way on Twitch. So
I never knew that, but I seen it and I was like, damn, that's awesome. That's actually
well, keep in mind he created the fireworks, so he's got it because he wants you to donate money to interrupt his stream because then he's making money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting seeing that. I was like, what's that, Jordan? He's like, oh, yeah, if you want to troll him, you just pay and you can interrupt his stream and make all this crap.
We got these things over there called hype trains. So, when you do something where you donate money or, you gift memberships, things like that, or don't give bits, it creates a train and then it goes up higher level. And then you get special emotes that, you earn by being part of the train.
Yeah.
So there's just Twitch has these ways to really encourage people to donate. And that's one of the things that YouTube doesn't have. YouTube doesn't have anything that's kind of fun like that. Now, they did just bring on gifted memberships. So if you want to gift memberships to a stream, you can do that. But it's hard. I haven't figured out how to do it yet.
YouTube's supposed to come out with something like StreamYard. They're supposed to come out with something like StreamYard as well, too.
Yeah.
They'll probably just buy StreamYard. I mean, StreamYard's got its under its own. I mean, I had I don't know if you've had Firehouse, if you have Firehouse subs up where you are. I had one tonight and I haven't had one. I think this is like the second time, maybe the third time I've ever had it. And it was made by, I believe it was started with 2 firefighters down in Florida. It was sold to restaurant brands for $1 billion last year.
Yeah.
1,200 locations in the States, and I think 40 in Canada. But
No, when you first mentioned it earlier, Firehouse Subs, it made me think of
they're good.
they were just hot. They were hot.
No, and that's what I thought they were too. I thought, yeah, no, I'm not going into the, if I want the Ring of Fire, I'll put on Johnny Cash.
Pricier than Subway, but from what I hear,
oh, absolutely,
absolutely.
But holy man, are they ever good? And it's some of the proceeds are going back to the firefighters. So I have no idea why the hell I mentioned that.
I don't know either, Tim, but now I want a damn sub. Bastard.
Oh dear.
So I was going to, just for shits and giggles, I was telling Candace, I said I got this thing on my Facebook or something like that about ICBC, which is the insurance company out in British Columbia that takes care of insurance and driving and all this and that. And I thought it would be interesting to bring up the learner's practice test to see exactly how many of the signs are common and how many of the signs we could obey and understand if we ever drove out there, just for shits and giggles.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So, and here's something interesting. Look at this. They have it in Punjab. Now, in BC, this is interesting. In BC, I'm surprised it's not. I mean, it's great. It's in Punjab, but I'm surprised it's not in Mandarin.
Well, here's the thing, though. I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but by the middle of this year, China is stepping down into the number 2 position as most populous country, while India is actually becoming number 1.
Oh yeah, they're taking.
China's actually had a decrease in population this year too, which is kind of interesting.
It was in the news this week. That was in the news this week. And what else was in the news? Oh, it was Japan and their bond yield. Their yield curve for their bonds was what I think they're going sideways or something like that, and that was interesting. But do you want to do the full? You want to try the full test? Or you want to do the signs test?
Let's just do the full test. Let's just throw it out there. Let's do it. Let's hammer this home.
You're in a busy you are in busy traffic and someone is driving too closely behind you. Which of the following actions will help protect you? Gradually increasing the space between you and the vehicle in front of you. Honk and flash your brake light. Accelerate to leave more space behind. Decrease your space in front to encourage the person in front to speed up.
No, it's going to be, well, you want to increase the space in front of you so you have an exit strategy.
That's right.
So I guess that would be A, right?
Is that what you say, Ken?
Sure.
Oh.
Woohoo!
There you go.
We're 1 for 1, folks.
To maintain proper lane position and steer your vehicle in a smooth line, you should open your eyes. No. Use your mirrors. Oh, there's a good one. Look at the car beside you. Maintain the space between you.
It's D. Look well ahead. You want to be staring off.
Where you look is where you go. Hey, you know what? You know what I heard today, Candace?
What's that?
And this is just hearsay, is that the whole nationwide computer system for YD went down on Saturday.
It did?
Mm-hmm.
I actually got emails about it where they were like, if you have any lessons, let us know. Our computer system is down.
It's what the hell is 6 p.m.? It's 6 p.m. and there is a school patrol. A school patrol. Oh, at a crosswalk holding up a stop sign. You can see no children around. What should you do? Slow down. Is it 6 p.m.? There's a school patrol at a crosswalk holding up a stop. So they're holding up a stop sign.
You obey the
slow down.
Well, yeah, you would still obey it. It's a stop sign, so But
you see no children around. What should you do? So you're gonna go with C?
That's a person holding a sign, right?
Yeah, I would.
That's a person holding. Yeah, that's a Punjabi holding the sign.
Yeah, I would stop. That's what I would do. I would stop.
I would too.
There you go.
I mean, the only exception to that is if they look like they're a zombie, then I might be a little bit. I'd roll up my windows.
Don't stop. Roll up the windows.
Roll up the windows, then stop.
Yeah.
Drivers should give cyclists extra room because they often ride two abreast. I mean, don't go there. Often stop suddenly, might swerve or change lanes. Do not follow the same rules.
Well, no, they do follow the same rules, but they do often stop suddenly. But I would go with the swerve thing because you just don't want to, because if they're like swerving around a pothole, they might come out a little bit. That's why you want to give them ample space.
Is that what you're doing, Ken? See?
He left. Let's just go with Steve without him. He went to check on a dog.
Oh,
look at this. It's like we're pros or something.
Make swerve lanes. Was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the swerve one.
Okay.
Why is it important to come to a complete stop? What? For a yellow light when possible. Oh.
Why is it important to come to a complete stop for a yellow light
when possible? Well, I mean, okay, well, in a sense, it is kind of the law. Like if it's yellow, you shouldn't be speeding through it unless it is safe, right?
When possible.
That's the whole idea of a point of no return, is that, there's a point when it isn't safe to stop. So I would go with all of them, to be honest, on this one.
But I think B makes more sense, though, right?
Well, the question says when possible, so it makes that a little gray.
It makes it a little gray, but I still think they're going for the all of the above on this one.
Or you mean all of these?
Yeah, all of these. Exactly. Well, all of the above. All of these.
They all.
I think it's C. It's C. It has to be C. See, look at that.
See.
Yeah, we're kicking.
If a vehicle has a standard transmission,
Gary chose B, and he's a driving instructor.
No, he did not.
He did chose B. He did. Look at
did he chat. Really? I can't see the chat because I'm on the screen here.
Oh yeah, no, he chose B.
If a vehicle has a standard transmission, coasting down a hill with a clutch punched in. Is unsafe and illegal and gives you more vehicle control, is a good alternative to using brakes, is all right in good weather.
This I don't know about standards, but if anything, it sounds to me like that should be unsafe and illegal, maybe. I
didn't realize it was illegal. I didn't. Yeah. But okay, it's BC, and I made my updated antenna for the HTA out here in Ontario maybe a little out. So
I'd say A. It is unsafe because if you're in gear, you can slow down by releasing the clutch. Right?
And it's probably, and plus BC does have some little bit of differences in their laws. So I'm gonna go with A. I think A.
Yeah, how would they confirm? How would they confirm that you did that if you were in an accident and charge you with illegal gear selector?
Car science, dude. Car science. They bring in a car scientist.
Yeah, but you can get in an accident and then just go ahead and pop it into second.
Yeah, but they can do things like look at the way the skid marks are, and they can tell a lot.
Speed, though. That's for speed. If you have the clutch all the way in,
they can figure something out.
You can still have it
something out, Ken. They'll catch you. They're going to catch you.
You can have it in whatever gear you want to. When that clutch is in,
number 7.
There's nothing.
You see ahead. Oh, you see ahead of you that the traffic light has been green for a long time. What should you do? Oh, I like this one. You need to think about
D.
The light. It's green. Begin braking.
Yeah, they call it scale green.
Look ahead at the intersection to see if it's clear. Speed up the light through. You should be ready for the stale green light to change. Be prepared to stop if necessary.
Exactly, D.
Yeah, you know if they left out a D because we've already covered this in a previous question talking about lights, is be prepared to stop if necessary and safe.
Yeah, but I think that kind of still rolls into that.
You agreed, Ken? D?
Well, anytime you come near an intersection, you should be covering your brake just in case, right? So, D.
What?
Yeah.
No.
You've never heard of that? Covering your brake just in case?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Every intersection?
Yeah. Why? In case something happens?
Right.
Oh, well,
Quicker
you might as well
reaction
cover.
time.
You might as well
Quicker
cover your
reaction
eyes too in case something happens.
Quicker reaction time. You don't have
Which
to.
of the-
You don't have to even think. You can just, as soon as you see it, you go like that.
Oh,
Instead
this one here is
moving your
really
foot
easy.
over.
Which of the following is not something you should do while merging onto a highway?
Stopping and waiting for a gap.
Okay, so true story. Today I'm doing an assessment with a senior, and we're merging onto the 403 in Brantford, and there's 2 transport trucks coming up in the right lane. And what does she do? She does a
Eek.
on the acceleration lane.
Yeah, you don't do that. This one to me was just super easy.
So what are we doing?
It's which one don't you do? So A. So stop
A.
for a gap. It's which ones do you not? Oh, look at this. We are like we're kicking butts.
Space margins include being able to quickly move into another lane to avoid hazards. Which vehicle does not have a space margin to change lanes?
C.
Nope.
Oh, B. B
That
has
would be.
Yeah,
that
B.
would-
I would go B.
Yep, that would be the correct answer.
No, car B. Not yeah, that. Whew, we almost had an error.
If you don't know what other drivers are going to do, like, okay,
B.
flash your high beams on them. Yeah, when they're beside you, they're going to see the high beams flashing.
It's illegal to flash high beams at anybody anymore, anyways. So
That's right. I'm going to go with A.
Yeah, I would go with A too. I mean, it's one of those situations. Like, I mean, technically, nobody has the right of way. Somebody gives you the right of way.
Correct.
It almost feels like I've just
Jesus
driver training. Well, it means that there's a stop signal ahead.
You know, I had someone look up in trees for this once.
Stop sign.
Shit, you not on the show. They went, where?
Hey,
Where?
my dad used to tell me when I was a kid, you know, you got the advanced green arrow that points up, right? He used to tell me it was for the reindeer underneath the hood. We're supposed to fly. I looked. There's no reindeer.
B.
Stop sign ahead.
Stop sign ahead.
What's okay? Well,
flashing red.
Yep. Car A may pass on the right, may not turn left over the line, may pass with caution. Ooh.
Here's a funny thing is that even though you're technically not supposed to pass, and I've always been taught this, I've actually heard in some of the training that you can still pass on that line, but
Ontario, yes.
I mean, and that's a thing. Yeah, because this is BC. So
Hang on. So here's my argument. Take that white car, okay, and make it a broken down truck.
Yeah, well, then you're going to have to pass with caution in a case like that.
But you're still passing over the line.
Yeah, you are. Absolutely.
Right.
And that's why I'm thinking that you may pass, but with, severe caution, obviously. So that would be like D.
But this means this is kind of an absolute one. It's B.
When it's when it's a vehicle in motion, you're not supposed to pass it unless it's like a farm vehicle, like a slow moving vehicle that cannot keep up to the speed posted.
Right, but that's the whole thing, though. In those cases, we've already shown there are cases where it's okay to pass. So the may not pass makes it almost sound like there's no chance or no situation, no exceptions.
In this situation,
based on the wording.
Vehicle.
Now, I wouldn't do it in this situation because you've also got that other little road coming in to create that T intersection.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
really adds some danger here. But
So what are we going to pick?
May not pass in that
B?
situation.
Yeah, I guess if
going
we
with
look
B.
at the road, if we look at the T, then definitely I wouldn't pass.
So we're good with this?
Let's find out.
Anyone giving us feedback in the stream?
B.
BC law. Oh, and you see, Scott, create, save, invest. He's from BC, so he would know. Whew.
You are driving in the left lane of a divided highway. You see an emergency vehicle with lights flashing in your rear view mirror. You should, in the left lane of a divided highway.
All right. So you see an emergency vehicle with lights flashing in your rear view mirror. All right. Well, you're not going to stop immediately. I mean, you want to move. Well, here's the thing, though. How many lanes are we talking?
So it's the left lane of a divided highway.
So it would be at least 2, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a divider in the center, but the emergency is behind you, so you would move to your farthest right lane.
Normally, yeah.
And pull over.
So A and D are contenders.
Right. Now, A saying, though, that you could go to either side. I didn't think you could really
Correct.
pull over on the other side, on the, on the divider side.
Yeah.
So I would eliminate A just based on that.
So yeah, but if it's a triple highway, if it's a 3-lane,
but it doesn't give that information. It makes it.
Are you going? Okay. There's a good question for you, Tim. If it's a 3-lane going one way, can you go to the left to clear room for an emergency vehicle?
Well, I mean, wouldn't the emergency vehicle automatically be moving to the to the left?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I mean, I take the QEW through the Burlington Oakville corridor as an example. When I see an emergency vehicle coming up from behind, I am always watching it and what lane it's in, because if it's picking a lane, chances are that's its path it's taking, right?
Yeah.
So I'm watching it come up the right. So therefore, I'm watching it, and it could get off. It could be, who knows, but I'm getting ready to get out of the way, whether I go left or whether I go right. Now, normally the emergency vehicle will either take a shoulder, will most likely take a shoulder, or straddle the shoulder that lane.
What Scott says in chat is right. D is the only one that you're stopping in, other than the stop immediately, which we know is crazy. But D, where you're moving safely to the nearest edge of the road and then stopping, because you are stopping. You're not just sort of driving along the edge of the road. You're gonna stop your vehicle till it passes.
So even if it's a triple highway, everybody should be trying to make their way to the right to pull over.
I have a feeling we're going to get nuked on this one.
Well, let's go with D, and then we'll blame Scott in chat if it's wrong.
But we're on a highway. Why would we stop?
Move safely to the nearest edge. That would be either the left. So if it's a triple highway, your nearest would be the left or the right side of the edge of the road. But so normally your left side, there's really not too much.
Candace, you said D.
I was thinking D, yeah. And then Scott in chat was saying D.
Is he really?
Highway though, C.
Now keep in mind he's also BC, so he's familiar with.
Oh, we're going down on this one. I know it.
Well, let's find out. You know what?
Okay.
We'll take it. We'll do it.
A, C, or D.
I'm going to go with D. Let's go with D. Let's just do D. Hope we see green.
Here comes the first red.
Green. Ah! No, see? Look at that. In Scott, we trust.
In Scott, we trust. You're behind a large vehicle or motorcycle on a highway speed. You're following to. Ooh.
Okay.
I would say the farthest away possible, because that's the safest.
It
the more
may
time you have, the more reaction time.
6 seconds is a shite ton of space.
Yeah, I'm thinking 3 seconds. It would be 6 seconds if you were like in a city or something.
Well, why can't normally it be car lengths?
Well,
well, let me think here. No.
3 seconds.
I don't think it's going to be 2 seconds.
Well, normally it's 2 seconds in the city.
And then it should be 4 seconds. Yeah, let's go with 4.
Okay. Is that what you're going to go for?
We'll go with 4. We'll live dangerously.
Can you guys see me, or am I blocked out?
No, you're there.
You can see everybody.
Oh, am I really? I can't see myself.
Well, that's weird. Must be
So you're saying B?
Yeah, let's go with B. We'll jump on B, and we'll either live or die together.
We're dying.
3 seconds.
Yep.
Ooh, so it was what? Oh, it's 3 seconds. Oh.
At least 3 seconds following distance when you are behind a large vehicle that could block your vision, or a motorcycle that could. Now, see, if you're 6 seconds behind, that gives you more vision, especially if it's transport.
For God's sakes, you don't want to be in the next county.
Uh-oh.
Well,
there are many collisions between cars and trains at night because people sneeze at you. Of driver fatigue, headlights were not turned on. What? The side of the train already crossing can be difficult to see. How is I going to run it inside of the train? Because of weather conditions.
At night, so driver fatigue.
I don't buy headlights were not turned on because you are going to see the flashing red light.
Driver fatigue.
I mean, driver fatigue could be it, but now keep in mind, you shouldn't run straight into the train. You should see the flashing lights.
It says many collisions between cars and trains at night are because of weather conditions.
Yeah, well, that's a possibility too, right?
Or
it all
because
depends.
of driver fatigue.
Does it have flashing lights, or is it just a stop sign? I pass tracks that just have the stop sign.
The crossbuck, yeah. So I'm going on the fact that I'm going based on what I see is presented in this picture, and that's flashing lights.
Flashing.
Yeah.
Okay. Driver fatigue is the only thing I could think of.
But at the same time, I guess, because it's not showing weather, but it's also not showing night.
So
but driver fatigue, let's go with driver. Yeah, because
what?
Okay.
Come on.
Yeah, there we go.
If your headlights aren't turned on, you wouldn't be able to see where the hell you're going anyways. What the hell?
Tim, weren't you on the show at one point called Canada's Worst Driver?
Wow. I just think that's the stupidest explanation. Anyway, moving on. Okay, I was wrong. If you see I did so well with the trains. Let's target pedestrians. If you see pedestrians at the side of the road and wanting to jaywalk, how do you know their name's Jay? You should. Oh yeah, do that. Go ahead.
No, I mean, you always are going to. If they're planning to jaywalk, you should stop and yield to them. It's just it's one of these things. It doesn't matter if they step right out into the traffic. You've got to stop. So I would say D.
C, and I say B.
Yeah, I'd say B. Slow down. Be ready.
I don't want to wave them out and kill them, and because someone else doesn't see them.
Yeah, because if you have a jaywalker that's going to jaywalk and you stop, the asshole behind you.
Yeah, well, you see, I'm thinking of that they're already in the process of jaywalking. I guess if they just want to, then you want to slow down. But
so based on what the verbiage says, it says wanting to.
Yeah. All right, we'll go with that. But if they put that one step, that actually happened to me when I was in driving training. This woman just walked straight out into the street. And here's the funny thing. I stopped. I gave her the right of way. And she got mad because I wasn't moving. Because I was like, and even my instructor was like, yeah, don't move. After a while, she refused to go. And she was just standing on the thing. So he said, okay, you can go now. And he said, in a driving test, though, don't go until the instructor tells you to, in a case. If you run into this and that, I'm like, okay, good to know. But, it was like, it was just weird.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see here.
Doesn't mean C.
That means if there's two-way traffic ahead. B.
Mean divided highway ahead.
No, because there's no divider.
No, you don't need to.
Either A or B.
Yeah, it's going to be two-way traffic ahead. I would say B.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. We're back on a
When other
winning track
drivers act
again.
aggressively towards you, it's best to avoid eye contact. Try to pass them and leave them behind. Return the aggression. Drive more slowly, but take your right of way. What? No.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with A on this one.
Avoid eye contact and give the other driver. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Don't poke a bear.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay, I take it we're in the middle lane, like the one with the X.
Shit, you know what? I don't know.
Well, you don't want to be in that lane anyway. You want to move it to the lane with the green arrow.
Yep.
So that's what I would say. Because where it's orange, it's telling me that it's giving you time to move over. It's like, hey, we're about to close this lane to your traffic. Move over.
Yeah, so it's called reverse traffic flow.
Exactly, but this is probably that transition point when they're going from one direction to the other.
So you're going with A?
I would go with A. It's basically giving you that warning that that's what's about to happen.
When the seat is fully moved forward. Yeah, okay. I'm thinking this is C. Agree?
Sure.
I would hope so.
Which of the following would not qualify as an emergency call that I can... What?
They're probably talking about using your phone in your car.
Which of the following would not qualify as an emergency call? C to a family member.
A family member would not be an emergency. But everything else is, well, they were all on that show emergency, so they're all emergency stuff.
Right. In heavy traffic, how can you help a cyclist who may want to change lanes and left at an intersection? Turn left at an intersection. Honk and see if the wild help. Maintain your lane position. Move into another lane so the other drivers can see the hand signals. Leave extra room so the cyclist can safely change lanes.
Wow.
C and D. They're both really good choices.
Well, I guess maybe leaving the extra room, though, because by leaving the extra room, that's going to give them, they'll be able to see things better.
Yep.
And not
you okay with that?
Move.
Yeah, by doing D, it allows C to happen.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
This sign means...
The only buses and high occupancy vehicles in this lane. Well, I do see the high occupancy. I do see the buses. Let's see. Area for buses and taxis only. Only buses. Public transit lane only. I think it's a high occupancy in buses.
Yep.
Because it's up there.
It is. And the last one.
Oh.
Before entering from a side street or an alley, must the driver of car A stop before the sidewalk?
Okay, before entering from a side street or alley. What alley? Well, if it's just
entering from a side street or alley, must the driver of car A stop before the sidewalk?
Logically, I'm gonna go with only if there's pedestrians present.
I always stop. See, in Grand Bend, they have like a walkway that's farther off from the road than like a normal sidewalk. So I always stop there and then look.
Yeah.
And then I proceed up to the edge of the road and stop again. And then proceed with my turn.
Well, yeah, stopping's not a bad idea because, especially if there's any kind of obstruction view, because you may not be able to see a pedestrian coming.
Right.
Yep.
That's the issue. And on that trail, it is kind of like a sidewalk, but everybody rides their bicycle on it. So you can have a bicycle just zip right in front of you, right?
Yeah.
So we're going with this?
All right, let's go. Yeah, we'll go with B.
It's the safest way.
Whew. All right.
Yeah, I've been doing
92.
92.
I'm not going to review the answers. I'm insulted.
That's right. Well, we got 2 wrong, but
there you go. Look at all the comments. That's hilarious. That's great.
See, we should have just let ChatGPT answer all the questions for us.
No. Anyway, we're over time tonight, and Ken's got to go on at 9 o'clock for his short little interlude.
Not tonight.
I got off last week, and I went, bloody hell, he's on at 9 o'clock. What's
I
he
know.
doing?
It was like, because he was like, oh, I've got stuff I gotta do. I gotta run. And then he goes and starts up a chat. I'm like, seriously?
It was hilarious. I said,
not tonight.
Like jumping one to get into the other.
Well, what's happening over on Mountain Finance this week?
Oh, lots of stuff. Let's see. Tomorrow we got another battle. It's OpenText versus Shopify. Then this weekend we should see that first FIQ video that Jill is doing. Got, of course, the live stream on Sunday, and Monday we'll have another video, and we'll be back here again next week, same time.
Perfect.
Different background.
Right. Ken, do I need to ask?
Friday, actually, I am going to be covering a new cryptocurrency token.
Oh,
and it could be the next big thing. So
I know. You know what really irks me is sometimes like you're almost 100%, and it's like I get this little message every once in a while. Remember that token I told you about? It's like, oh no, and I just closed the message box because I don't want to read any further.
Oh, you're talking about Bone Token when I was telling everyone buy it at 30 cents.
I know. I just closed it. It's so depressing.
Dave did, and Dave's happy.
And Skive.
So I'll start off with talking about this token, and then we'll go from there.
Token.
It's going to be a good token. It's going to be a token good time. Please come and subscribe.
There you go. That's the freaking Oracle. Fridays at sometime in the evening.
8 p.m.
8 p.m. for sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I might have some devs pop in the chat and whatnot. So 8 p.m.
Cool. Well, I appreciate everyone's time tonight. Be safe, and we shall see you, same bat channel, same bat time, next Wednesday at 7 p.m. live.
Bye, everybody.
Adios, amigos and amigoettes.